We got some audit type information. No, it's not as fun as the Maricopa County stuff. No, it's not quite as promising as the Fulton County stuff over in Georgia. It's not as spectacular as what's going to be happening in Wisconsin. It's more or less just kind of, here's what's happening. But I think it's important for you guys to know this stuff as well. Because, like I said, when I was outlining the other 7, or I guess it would have been other 6 states that would have eventually started to come down after Maricopa County in Arizona, Michigan was going to be such a goddamn long shot because the Secretary of State and the Queen on the throne in Lansing would never let anything happen, and that's exactly what happened because judge dismisses Antrim County election fraud lawsuit flat on its face, just like every other Trump or Trump adjacent lawsuit that's out there. Okay, did they look at any of the evidence? Nah, they don't need to. They already came to the conclusion that they needed to. But this was about Antrim County, okay? It was one of those places where we had some kind of concrete evidence of something funky happening, okay? This was the place where there was a slight tabulation error. Let's just leave it vague like that. You guys probably remember during November, I had several videos up with that, and if you go back, there's at least a dozen that have been scrubbed, and they were all kind of at least talking about this stuff as well, so we're going to try to keep it vague, but there were certain things that were put into the computer that, first and foremost came out, and it was like, that's a little bit odd, but then they were immediately rectified, and there was no lingering effects of what happened there, okay? And because whenever it's polled, Antrim County is a heavily Republican area. It's like a R+8 or R+9 district. So for the initial results to come in, it looked a little bit funky. Questions were asked and answers were delivered in the form of, nah, just take your shit and fuck off. Just deal with the results. An Antrim County judge dismissed an election fraud lawsuit Tuesday that has served as a vehicle to advance an unfounded conspiracy theory. This is a USA Today affiliate, the Detroit Free Press. So forgive the sensationalist rhetoric. Unfounded conspiracy theory, the tabulator manufactured, Dominion something or others, switched votes for people. More than 6 months after the election, the lawsuit sought an audit of Michigan's election results. And what's wrong with that? If you have nothing to hide, why can't we just count it? If we're going to fund it and everything, what's the fucking problem? Michigan's election officials already undertook a statewide audit. Oh, really? Did they? Did I miss something about that? Did I miss that? Or was that are you guys just trying to pass off a recount in specific counties as a full audit? Is that what I'm missing? I think so. Of the presidential election starting in January, in which it took 18,000 randomly selected ballots in more than 1,300 jurisdictions, were reviewed by clerks. Blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ, that was tough to say for whatever reason. Oh, right. Sorry, I'm a little bit allergic to bullshit. So what they're trying to pass off as a statewide audit is 18,000 randomly selected ballots from 1,300 different jurisdictions. Okay, if that's the line that you're trying to feed out there, go for it. There are many counties that have more than 18,000 votes in them, but yeah, no, that's a good sampling, and I'm sure none of them came from the Detroit area or anything like that. The Bureau of Elections found that the tabulators counted ballots properly and uncovered no evidence of widespread issues with the machines. We weren't asking for the fucking machines, we were looking for signatures, okay? Anyways, the judge declared the case moot. There you go. Don't bother looking at anything that's in there. No, it's past good. No, it's past its expiration date. Or that's a box of Wheaties that hasn't been opened. Nope, past its expiration date. Can't be using that. Ruling Central Lake Township resident Bill Bailey, who brought the lawsuit, had already been granted the forensic imaging of the election equipment, had requested, and then had also been there has also been a lawful election audit. No, statewide audit, okay? If you guys are going to run with that, if you're going to run with the big lie, which you're going to get to again, because that's always fun to associate Donald Trump with Nazism, because that's not a far left ideology that's been co-opted by morons in order to smear your opposition. Anyways, there is no reason to do it twice. No, you should probably do it once, because whatever. 13th Circuit Court Judge Kevin Eisenheimer. Elsenheimer. Whatever. Some kraut. Said during the Tuesday hearing, Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, a Democrat, and isn't she former Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson? Didn't she fuck up during the election? But I'm thinking I'm confusing her with the Secretary of State for Pennsylvania. So forgive me on that one. But here's hoping, you try to put, it's just like, you're trying to put your thoughts out into the ether and hopefully somebody will answer them. So, you know what? A dismissal of the last of the lawsuits attempting to undermine our democracy. I put that in there for a little artistic flourish. In the furtherance of the big lie, affirms that desperate, intense scrutiny and an unprecedented misinformation campaign projecting much, bitch, in the 2020 election was fair and secure. Sure it was. And the results accurately reflect the will of the voters. Boy, even if you were just to read that not in an evil Disney villain tone, that would still read as somebody who is very, very skeptical of their own position and really needs to discredit the other side in order to make their weak opinion stick. Attorney General, a Democrat, Dana Nelson, said the ruling should be the nail in the coffin because she wants all Republicans dead for any remaining conspiracy theories surrounding the outcome of the November 3rd general election. And let me tell you about the January 6th insurrection. The lawsuit filed November 23rd, so they just got to it like a week ago. Okay? So it just shows you that the courts are really up on this one. But this is about as bad as it gets because there's something else happening. Okay? There was another state that didn't really talk about, mostly because there wasn't really much of a hubbub. Okay, there was a couple of different things. I think that they were one of those states where there was a couple of little house races that happened as like somebody conceded and then somebody ended up finding more votes and then ended up getting a phone call back. It's like, no, you actually won, so you can rescind that concession. I'm pretty sure that was New Hampshire, but it was one of those states that I thought there was a chance to turn red in the previous election, mostly because it was a Kate Mossian thin margin of victory for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and the way that everything was trending, they were looking like they were going to be one of the benefactors of the reddening of Maine, okay? But, yeah, it didn't really pan out that way, and nobody really paid attention to New Hampshire, so ergo, it was just kind of allowed to fall under the radar, I suppose. And there's another small audit happening there, okay, in Windham County. And once again, as much as I love the Washington Examiner, just another one of those kind of interesting headlines that they put out there. Okay, New Hampshire election auditor says audit has shown no widespread fraud. Okay, nobody's looking for widespread fraud. We're looking for specific examples in Windham, New Hampshire. So, well, seems kind of moot. It sounds like you're just trying to grab buzzwords in order to elicit a certain response. So I guess on one level, well done. But on another level, let's get to the evidence, shall we? The Windham, New Hampshire election audit has revealed no evidence of widespread fraud. Cool, we weren't looking for that, but good to know. Try my teddy bear from when I was 5 years old. No, you weren't looking for that? Well, I guess you weren't doing your job. According to one of the election officials tasked with leading it. Oh, okay, cool. Do you have any results, though? No, but we found no evidence of widespread fraud. What do you define as widespread fraud? We'll be here for hours. The audit, which is focused on the state representative race. Oh, see, it's not even about the presidential election. It's about making sure that all races are conducted correctly. What I've been advocating for quite a long time, me and several other people. Do an audit after every election. Let's just get it right. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. Figure out if there are any discrepancies that have happened by the time that the initial count and potentially the recount or a audit afterwards, if there's anything fishy that came along, and then see if there was anything that happened after that. Identify your mistakes, fix them so it doesn't happen again in the future. Sounds fair? Sounds fair. The original count, the recount, nothing has ever been changing who gets elected. Yeah, everything's been enshrined now. You'd have to go through the impeachment process, and then you'd have to go through a special election in order for anybody to get fucking taken out and replaced. That's just the fucking lay of the land. That's what happens. Said Harry Hursty. I don't know what that is. I don't know what a Harry Hursty is. But it's one member of a 3-person team leading the audit, according to CNN. Oh, the bastion of unbiased reporting. So, okay. If Harry Hursty's talking to CNN, you know you got to take that seriously. This is an exercise of finding what caused the error, but the 4 winners have all from day one remained to be the same 4 winners. This has never threatened that. And again, if there would have been widespread fraud, which would have been uncovered in this, it would have come out. There was none. Okay. A whole bunch of stuff in there. Whole bunch of stuff that I already covered. Not looking for widespread fraud. The winners have already won and been enshrined, okay? Nobody's going to get that overturned. And if you're so confident that there's been no change in any of the tabulations, why would you have to come out in front of this before any of the reports get released? Something tells me that's up. The auditors have speculated that folds in ballots could have been to blame for the discrepancies. Yeah, it's a little bit weird why this entire audit was requested, founded, and approved to begin with, because counting machines just really can't be trusted when they're just such delicate beasts. Just be like Canada, return to paper ballots. Show identification when you vote, you bunch of racists. The auditors have speculated that folds in ballots could have been to blame for the discrepancies. If someone voted for all 4 Republican candidates and the ballots happened to have its fold line going through St. Lawrence Target, then that might have been interpreted by the machines as an overvote, which then would subtract votes from each of the 4 Republican candidates. Philip Stark, another member of the 3-person audit team, reported on a March 17th report from WMUR9. Conversely, if there were not 4 votes already that were in that contest by the voter, a fold line through the target would have caused the machine to interpret it as a vote for St. Laurent. Jesus Christ, what a fucking fickle machine you got there. On Monday, Hursty said that as many as 60% of ballots with handmade or machine-made folds were improperly counted by towns for scanning machines. Okay, if they're that fickle and there's that big of a discrepancy, said the CNN source, why wouldn't you be foregoing over this kind of stuff? Interesting. While the audit was not being conducted for the 2020 presidential race, former President Donald Trump has praised its efforts. Yes, as any American or anybody who's, in a fan of open, free, secure, and fair elections, they should probably be praising this as well. Congratulations to the great patriots of Windham, New Hampshire, for their incredible fight to seek out the truth in the massive election something, which took place in New Hampshire and in a certain event that happened in November. Said on May 6th, the spirit of transparency and justice is being displayed all over the country by media outlets who do not represent fake news. Since the November election, Trump and his team have made repeated claims of widespread... No, that's just what the media says. He was talking about specific instances. Like Michigan, like Wisconsin, like Pennsylvania, like Georgia, like Arizona, and like Nevada, and New Mexico for a minute. I don't forget. But that's the audit update, okay? I guess we're going to be getting something out of New Hampshire, and Michigan's just going to stay locked up, and nobody's going to have to worry about anything until 2022 rolls around, and Gretchen Whitmer puts her ass back on the ballot, and probably in an amendment to the Constitution named something completely different that would just grant her innumerable powers and an unimpeded stay in the governor's mansion. But looks like she's going to be having enough troubles of her own thanks to a pretty based legislature. We got some pop culture shit to talk about because there's a big acquisition that happened today that I couldn't care less about, despite that poster back there might indicate. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.